UFC 323 goes down in just a couple of days, and I'm here to give you my pick for every single fight on the card. We're going to start with the first fight of the night, work our way up to the main event, and once we've done that, we will go ahead and rank my picks from least to most confident, from number 14 all the way to number 1. But before we do that, I'll let you know picks and bets are very different. If you want to check out my bets, jump on the Home of Fight Picks Premium membership, link down in the description below. Use code HeyJive for a 5-day free trial so you can get all my bets on UFC 323 for free. Let's hop into the fights. First fight of the night, we got Santos versus Muhammad Naimov. And I think, Naimov could maybe pull this one out, but I just don't really see it. I think Myron Santos' footwork, distance management's going to be too good for Naimov to win the striking exchanges on the feet. And if Naimov is going to grapple, he's got to get past the pretty solid takedown defense and get-ups from Myron Santos. He's the younger guy. He's going to be improving. I think he's got a higher ceiling here than Muhammad Naimov. So I am going to take the favorite in Myron Santos to get it done in the first fight of the night. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a boring fight to start off the card, because there's probably not going to be anybody in the T-Mobile Arena for the first fight of the night, or very few people. So it's probably going to be like a little bit of a snooze fest, but give me Santos to get it done. And Mansour Abdul Malik as a huge favorite here, taking on Antonio Trocoli. Not going to waste any time. I'm going to take Mansour Abdul Malik to get it done. He should absolutely roll through Antonio Trocoli, and if he doesn't, that's probably a loss, even if he does end up winning the fight. If he doesn't finish him within the first 7.5 minutes, there's probably something wrong with him. So give me Mansour Abdul Malik to get it done. Iwo Baraniewski coming in at minus 190, taking on Aslan. I think Iwo Baraniewski should get this one done because I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. It is his UFC debut, so that makes it a little bit scary. But I just don't really think Ibo has much to offer outside of some hard leg kicks and some power on the feet. And maybe that's all he's going to need to win this fight. Because if they get into some striking exchanges early and Ibo clips Baraniewski with some big shot, maybe that's it. That could be the fight. But I do think Iwo is going to try to get this one to the ground. He is more of a takedown and smash your face in down on the ground or submit you on the ground. Just a much better grappler. And that's a huge deficiency in the Ibo Aslan game. Unless he's significantly improved that, I think Iwo should get this one done. Give me Iwo Baraniewski to get his hand raised. Moving on, Jalen Turner taking on Edson Barboza. Barboza, the much older fighter, but he's not the guy that retired. Jalen Turner is coming back from retirement at 30 years of age, and I think that's a good thing for him. I didn't expect him to be out of the game for that long. I was pretty sure he was going to come back. He just had to get his mind right, I believe. I mean, the guy's got a ton of talent you just can't teach. He's 6'3", and Edson Barboza just hasn't really looked that great as of recently. He's still tough. Like, he's still willing to be in there. He's not, caving to the first sign of adversity, but he is reacting to shots very poorly. And if Jalen Turner is going to hit him with something big early on, which he normally does to almost every single opponent that he's ever faced, especially in the UFC, he's usually KOing you early if he's winning, or club and subbing you early if he's winning. So he's going to hurt Barboza with something early on in this fight, and I think it probably puts Barboza away, who's 39, up a weight class now since his last fight at 155. So give me Jalen Turner to get this one done. If he's not completely checked out, then I think he wins. And considering he did check out and now he's coming back, seems like that should be a good sign for him to have gotten his mind right to a point where he can perform to the best of his abilities. Marvin Vettori taking on Bruno Ferreira. This should be a 50-50 fight. I really think this one could go either way, but I am going to lean towards the Marvin Vettori side and take him for the pick because this is a big step down in competition. I do think if he is motivated and comes into this fight with a good game plan, he can win. How he loses this fight is if he just does what he has been doing and kind of just stand in front of people, or stand in front of his opponent and let his opponent kind of dictate how the fight is going to go. I think Marvin's got to put some pressure on Bruno Ferreira, use his cardio and his physicality against a powerful puncher and a sneaky jiu-jitsu guy in Bruno Ferreira. If he comes in here and he lets Bruno dictate the pace, where Bruno likes to be to the outside and then explode in with big power punches and then get away and maybe mix in some takedowns, maybe look for like an arm bar or something like that, then he could definitely get caught. He could get caught with a big shot down the middle, even though Marvin's historically one of the most durable fighters in the UFC. Everybody can be cracked. So that's why you can't be really confident in Marvin here. He's on the border of like, he's completely washed, but I do think this is a big step down in competition. I've personally never been a huge believer in Bruno Ferreira. He does have power. He does have some sneaky submissions, but I don't think he has great cardio, and I don't really think he has like a great process in the striking. So give me Marvin Vettori, the veteran, to get this one done. Ziam taking on Nazim Sadykhov. This is a very 50-50 fight as well, but I am going to take the better minute winner here in this fight, which is Ziam. Nazim Sadykhov, very dangerous, built different to an extent, to the point where this guy seems like he does not get affected by his opponent's strikes coming at him. It just stays calm, keeps moving forward, and he's going to look to try to land the big shot to get you out of there. But I don't know that Ziam is going to give him any opportunity to land the big shot. Ziam is extremely savvy on the feet. He's not going to let himself into the range where Nazim wants to be. And in a lot of Nazim fights, he's kind of lulling guys into the fight that he wants, which is you stand in front of me, let's bang it out. I'll throw my head kicks, I'll throw my body kicks, I'll let my right hook go, and one of these is going to land and you're going to feel it. But Ziam's going to be skirted to the outside using his footwork. And if they want to grapple, I don't really think either guy is going to dominate in the grappling, but I do think Ziam could get some periods of control time up against the cage, get some periods of control time down on the ground. So I'm going to take Ziam, the better minute winner here. I wouldn't be shocked if he does get caught with something big and either loses the round that way or does get knocked out or does get finished, but I think he's the better minute winner, so I'm going to take him for the pick. Macy Barber. I almost said Macy Barboza. Macy Barber taking on Karine Silva. Macy coming back after the debacle with the weight cut, the new tits, and the seizure before the fight against Erin Blanchfield. So we'll see how she performs here. But I do think she's the much better fighter than Karine Silva. I don't really believe Karine Silva has a ton to offer outside of a dangerous submission game and some decent power on the feet. She's not a very high volume striker. I don't really think she sets stuff up with her striking. She's just kind of waiting for the right opportunity to let, a big right hand go, or she's looking to level change, get you down to the ground, and then go to work with her jiu-jitsu. She's a good grappler, but she does accept bottom position almost every time that she's in a fight. So if you're going to look to take her down, you can take her down with ease. So if you're a competent enough grappler on the ground to grapple with Karine Silva and not, get submitted, I think you can win minutes on top. And if Macy Barber does shoot a takedown here, I think she's competent enough on the ground to not get submitted. On the feet, I think she's the much better striker. I think she's the more diverse striker. This fight really just comes down to, where is Macy Barber at? Is she okay physically? Is she okay mentally? We don't really know that, but if she is, I think she wins the fight. Give me Macy Barber for the pick. Let's move on. Chris Duncan taking on Terrence McKinney. I almost said Trayshawn McKinney. How am I messing up these names? This is not like me. This is what we get when we get a week off of no UFC. I'm a little bit rusty. Who knows what's going to happen after 5 weeks off of UFC once we get to the December and January months. But Chris Duncan taking on Terrence McKinney. Chris Duncan at -160, the ever so slight favorite. I think he is going to come in here and try to be a survivor for 2.5 minutes and then try to take over. But he can't be passive. That's the thing with Terrence McKinney, is he's going to be aggressive and he is going to try to finish you early on. He's never fought any different, really, whether he's going for the takedowns, looking to submit you, or if he's going in there trying to knock you out. He's going to look for the finish at all times. I think Terrence might look to grapple here because I don't really think Terrence likes to be in a fist fight on the feet unless his opponent is just not a good striker whatsoever. And Chris Duncan is a good striker. So I kind of think Terrence is going to grapple here, or at least try to. And I just don't really see him getting a submission. Like, it is possible, but I think Chris Duncan's a good enough grappler not to. He's already had his grappling flaw of a fight, which was Manuel Torres. He got his back taken and he got submitted early on in that fight. Manuel Torres also a very explosive early finisher as well. So I think he takes that fight, he learns from it, and he's not going to, panic if a guy gets to his back, or if a guy does get to his back, I think he'll be able to defend it. And if he does, he's going to be a huge favorite by the time this fight hits 3 minutes into the first round, because that's when Terrence McKinney falls off. So give me Chris Duncan to win this one. I mean, he's clearly got the better cardio. I think he's the much more durable fighter as well. I think his submission game is solid as well. He's got power in his hands. I just never really trust Terrence McKinney to win a fight unless it's against the bottom of the barrel. And if you look at his wins most recently, it's the bottom of the barrel. His best win was his last one against Slaviklaus. But outside of that, it's Damir Hadzovic, it's Brendan Marat. Like, these are bad fighters. And whenever he takes a step up in competition, he gets smoked. So give me Chris Duncan to get it done. Grant Dawson taking on Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres, the man we just talked about. Another early finisher taking on a D1 crotch sniffer here in Grant Dawson. And I say D1 crotch sniffer, but the dude does have finishes. The dude has nasty ground and pound. He has good submissions, good back takes as well. And he's just way more proven over the course of 3 rounds here than Manuel Torres. If Torres doesn't knock him out within the first 6 minutes of the fight, I think this is one-way traffic for Grant Dawson. And I say 6 minutes because, Grant could take him down in the first round and, maybe control him, maybe land some ground and pound, maybe just make Manuel Torres work. And then round 2 starts, he gets a minute off of fresh to, come out fresh in the second round. And he could be dangerous in round 2 as well. So I'm not going to count that out. But I do think Grant Dawson's going to be smart enough. He's already come out and said he's going to go out there and hump his leg, which is something that fans never really want to hear. So if you're going to say that publicly, I should expect you to go out there and do that. And if he does hump his leg, he's going to be the far better wrestler, far better grappler. And I just think he's fought the better level of competition as well. So give me Grant Dawson to get this one done. Could get clipped, but if he doesn't, he should look like a big favorite here. Jan Blachowicz taking on Bogdan Guskov. It's pretty tempting to take Guskov here, but I just don't think I could do it. I don't really think Guskov really hasn't been respected by the books on his run outside of the Billy Elicana fight. And in that fight, he got taken down and got his back taken immediately to start out the fight. He also got taken down by Ryan Spann, and Ryan Spann looked like, an elite fighter against Bogdan on the ground. Krylov was supposed to take down Guskov. Look what happened. Now he's getting another step up in competition against Jan Blachowicz. And I know Jan's 42, but I don't really think he looks terrible. Physically he looks good. He's dealt with some surgeries, but he's never really been a guy that's like needed to be like this fast, footwork type of guy. Like, not like a Carlos Ulberg, who's very fast on his toes, light-footed, in and out, very fast for the weight class. Jan's kind of a plotter. He uses, his physicality, his leg kicks up against the cage, his cage push, the power in his hands. He's a decent grappler as well. So I don't really think he's going to come in here and just get smoked. Like, of course, Guskov could catch him early. But I think Jan, if he's smart, should go to the grappling here, because I think that's where he's going to have a massive edge. If you're getting submitted by Volkan Oezdemir, I think Jan Blachowicz could maybe submit you as well. But at the very least, I think Jan could get takedowns here. I don't think Guskov's grappling game is that great. It could be getting better. I know he trains with Walter Walker, so we'll see. But from what I've seen, I just haven't really seen anything that I like from Guskov on the ground, and I think that's a huge factor in this fight. So I'm going to take Jan Blachowicz to get it done, even though he's 42. It's a step down in competition. If Guskov really is that guy, so be it. I'll take my L there, but I'll take Jan to get this one done. Peyton Talbott taking on Henry Cejudo. I'm going to go with Peyton Talbott here. I'll keep this one fairly short and sweet, but I do think Henry Cejudo, being this being his last fight, how can I really be confident that he's going to come in here and take out a guy that I've believed in, for a while now, and a lot of people have believed in him. He took his loss to Raoni Barcelos, and a lot of people will say, he lost to a Brazilian journeyman or something like that. Raoni Barcelos is really good and also winning a lot of fights recently. He's had a hell of a 2025. Beat Peyton Talbott, beat Cody Garbrandt, and beat Ricky Simone. Those are 3 very, very good fighters. Henry Cejudo hasn't had a win since 2020. And Henry Cejudo's retiring. And Henry Cejudo, I don't think has much motivation going into this fight. And Peyton Talbott, since that Barcelos fight, has come back, faced a much younger Felipe Lima, who had a lot of promise, who everyone was talking about to be this great prospect or great young contender or whatever. And Peyton Talbott shut down his wrestling with ease. And it's very clear to me that physicality and just size difference in this fight should make a huge difference. I'll take Peyton Talbott to get this one done. Better striker, pushes an insane pace, improved grappling. Give me Talbott. Tatsuro Taira taking on Brandon Moreno. This is going to be a close one. I can't wait to watch it and see how it plays out. It's matchups like these that I love to see, where you get two guys that are very high level and the odds are pretty much dead even. And I kind of agree with it, but I'm going to take Brandon Moreno here because I just don't really think Tatsuro Taira is going to be able to grapple him that hard. You know, Pantoja, being the champion, had also faced Brandon Moreno twice before he beat him the third time, most recently. And there wasn't really like a ton of spots where Pantoja was dominating the grappling. He did get a couple back takes, but Brandon Moreno, at 31 years of age, can still be improving his grappling. And he's never been finished. So does Taira go in there and finish Brandon Moreno? I would be surprised if he did. So that means it's probably going to go to decision. And yeah, maybe Taira wins the fight based off of two back takes. Could happen. But I think Brandon's probably going to be able to do the more damage here on Tatsuro Taira. Like I said, it's a close fight, but I'm going to side with the slight dog and Brandon Moreno to get this one done. I also just don't really rate Tatsuro Taira's last win against Tianson Park. Like, it's just not really that great. And I know he went to a close decision with Brandon Royval, which, he definitely could have won, but he didn't. It was also a 5-round fight. So this one being a 3-rounder, I don't really love that for Moreno, but I do think if the fight is on the feet, he's probably going to be the one doing the more damage, throwing more volume. So give me Moreno to get it done. Co-main event, Pantoja versus Joshua Minivan. I hate this one because I love both guys, but I do think I have to go with Pantoja here, man. I don't really see how I could confidently pick Joshua Van, just how green he is in MMA as a whole. I believe in the guy as far as, his striking goes, but I just don't really know that he's going to be able to handle Pantoja. Pantoja is a different animal, man. He's a different animal. It seems like he's actually gotten like bigger and stronger, and that's just not what you want with a guy going up against Joshua Van, because Joshua Van's not the biggest guy, for the flyweight division, but that does help him in some scenarios, him being boxing heavy. If he's able to keep, a high guard and throw his hands, and then if they shoot on him, just rip the underhooks and stuff the takedowns that way. He's got good instincts as well. I do think he's a special fighter. This just seems like too much too soon. Like, if I'm wrong and Joshua Van goes in there and wins, like, by all means, like, I'm happy to be wrong, but I just can't really confidently say Pantoja loses to a Joshua Van who wasn't even ranked at the beginning of 2025. He fights all the time, which I've said seems like it should come back to bite him, but it hasn't really. So maybe this is the time, but I got to take Pantoja here, man. The back takes are elite. He's a dangerous striker on the feet as well. The guy's never been finished. He's an absolute dog in there. So give me Pantoja and still to get it done. And that takes us to the main event. Rob versus Jan. Jan gets smoked in the first fight, 50-45. Does he come back and get his revenge? I don't think so. But I will say this. The line on Merab at -400, I can't play it. I'm not going to be betting it personally, but I am going to take Merab to win the fight. He's going to be my pick. But as I said at the beginning of the video, picks and bets are very different. Just because I'm picking him to win doesn't mean I'm going to bet on him. And just because I'm picking him to win doesn't mean I'm not going to bet on Petr Yan at +330 odds. And let me explain that. I think Merab should be the favorite here. That's why I'm going to take him as my pick. But should he be this big of a favorite? I don't know. I don't really think so. I would put Merab about -225, -250 at tops. And that's kind of being generous. Because Petr Yan's a very good fighter. Merab shot 49 takedowns in the first fight. Jan stuffed 38 of them. 38 of them. The thing in that fight is Jan just couldn't really do anything because Merab threw like 400 significant strikes, shot 49 takedowns. He's just defending the entire time. And that's what Merab does to his opponents. He just puts so much offense out there that you can't really do anything because you're always defending something, which is kind of why I think he's going to win here, is because I just don't know how you beat Merab without knocking him out. And it's going to be tough to knock him out because he's just going to overwhelm you with offense. But if Merab is coming in here, he's coming in here taking the 5th title fight in the last 15 months. I don't love that, but he's the machine. And he's gotten a little bit more confident in his striking, but I also think he's gotten better with his striking. So, yeah, I say all this to be like, I'm not going to bet on Merab, but I am going to pick him to win. I think he wins because he just does more than his opponents, and doing more than your opponents usually wins you fights. But if he's going to come in here not at 100%, maybe the weight cut doesn't look good, the money line on Petr Yan at plus 330 does seem a bit disrespectful just because Yan is such an amazing fighter. But I also just don't really see how Yan wins this fight without knocking him out. And I just don't really see that. You know, could he win 3 out of the 5 rounds? Sure, but I think that's pretty generous, you know, for a guy that usually loses round 1, and then he usually tends to win the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th. But Merab almost always wins the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th. So how are you going to beat Merab when you usually lose the early rounds? I don't know, man. I don't know. But, you know, there's also a lot of recency bias in the line as well. For one, the first fight being the 50-45. And if you look back in history, you don't have to look back that far. Petr Yan was beating Aljamain Sterling pretty badly before he kneed him in the face. And then in the rematch, Petr Yan's like a minus 300, minus 400 favorite, and Aljo wins the fight as a plus 300 dog, very similar to this. So just be careful, you know, if you're going to be laying big money on Merab, just thinking he smokes him again because of the first fight. But I'm going to take him to win. I'm not going to be betting his money line at minus 400, though. I can tell you that. All right, we gotten that out of the way. Let's hop into the most confident plays. Let's go with number 14, the least confident pick on the card. It's going to be Fares Ziam because I have been very supportive of Nazim Sadykhov. I just don't really love that he's not a good minute winner and not a good round winner. He's a moments guy. He's a finisher. But if he can't find that moment or can't find that finish, I don't think the fight's going to look very good for him. So give me Ziam at number 14. Number 13 is going to be Marvin. Can't be that confident in him because he's taken on a guy that does have big power. He does look like he could be borderline washed. But if he's able to come in with a good game plan, I do think he can win. Number 12 is going to be Macy Barber. Should be the better fighter in the matchup, but I don't really know where she's at with the boob jobs, the seizures, the weight cut. We don't know where she's at, so I can't really be that confident in her. She's number 12. Number 11 is Brandon Moreno. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I think Brandon can get more damage done within the 15 minutes, and if he can keep Taira off his back, I think he should be good, but Taira is very good, and I do think it's a close fight, so I can't really be that confident. Number 10 is going to be Iwo Baraniewski. I would have him higher, but it's his UFC debut, and I don't know what his chin is really going to look like because we haven't really seen him in his professional MMA career take a lot of big punches. So if Iwo does connect with something big, like the guy could just freeze up and shit could go south pretty quickly. So he's number 10, but I do expect him to get his ground game going and should be able to get a win on the ground. Number 9 is going to be Jan Blachowicz against Bogdan Guskov. If he does use his grappling here, I think he could look like a pretty sizable favorite and even could get a finish. But on the feet, I don't think he's going to be, outclassed by any means. Guskov has like some sneaky power, but Jan has historically been pretty durable. So Jan at number 9. Number 8 is Myron Santos. I think it's probably going to be fairly boring, but he should be able to stuff the takedowns of Naimov. And if he doesn't get just Mario Batista, Jose Aldo held up against the cage in the clinch, then he should be able to win the minutes in this fight as well with his striking at distance striking range. Number 7, Chris Duncan. If he survives the first 3 minutes, fight's over. Chris Duncan won. But if he doesn't, that means he probably got brutally KO'd or did get his back taken and did get submitted. But I don't really think that's going to happen. So give me Chris Duncan at number 7. Number 6 is Grant Dawson. If he can avoid the big punch, he should be able to get to the hips, should be able to get to his single leg, get him down to the ground, and go to work from there. He's the much better grappler. One of the best grapplers in the lightweight division, in my opinion. But his striking is not great, so that's why it's kind of tough to say he's top 5 material until we see him do it against like a really high-level guy. It's very tough for him to get matchups within the top 10 because nobody wants to fight him because they know how good of a grappler he is. But against Manuel Torres is a guy that usually leaps into stuff, throws everything at you, and that is just going to open up Grant Dawson to get to his hips and get to the leg and get him down to the ground and go to work. Top 5. Number 5 is going to be Merab. I think he's going to be able to get this one done. If he does lose, it's probably going to be like a close decision. So that's why he's in the top 5, man. Like I don't think he's going to lose 50-45. I don't think he's going to lose 49-46. Maybe he could lose 48-47. But outside of that, I think Merab probably going to get this one done. Jan could make it close and could maybe cash as a big underdog, but I think Merab probably gets it done. Number 5. Number 4, Pantoja to get it done against Van. I think Pantoja's back takes is going to be the key here, and he doesn't always need a takedown to secure that back take, and that's a big deal because Joshua Van does have some solid takedown defense. It does have some pretty good get-ups, but in the process of getting up, can get his back taken by one of the best back takers in the game in Pantoja, and if he does have your back, could be the round or it could be the fight. Give me Pantoja there. At number 4, number 3 is going to be Jalen Turner. He should be able to walk through Barboza. Barboza, I think, is a ghost of what he once was. And Jalen Turner might be a ghost of what he once was, but I don't really think he is. I think if he's going to come back to fight after retiring, I think he'll be all right, man. I think he'll be all right. And he's one of the most explosive and dangerous fighters early on in the fight that we've seen. So, an aging guy in Barboza that has gotten away with it for the past like 3 or 4 fights of getting hurt in round 1, taking on a potent round 1 finisher. I'll take Jalen Turner at number 3. Number 2 is going to be Peyton Talbott to get it done against Cejudo. I don't really think Cejudo is going to get his wrestling going here. If he does, he's not going to be able to do much damage with it. I don't think he's going to be able to submit Peyton Talbott either. I guess he could win a couple minutes here and there, but Talbot has good takedown defense and good get-ups. So if he's going to be able to get up from the takedowns of Cejudo, that's going to tire out Cejudo, and Peyton Talbot pushes at an insane pace. He's going to be the better striker. He's going to throw a lot more volume as well, much bigger than Cejudo. I like him at number 2. And number 1 is going to be Mansour Abdul Malik, because if he doesn't run through Antonio Trocoli, investigate that man. Investigate him. That's going to do it for the video. Like the video for me if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We're at 29,000 subscribers. We could get to 30K by the end of the year. I think that would be a bit of a reach, but if we did, that would be sick. All right, get to 30K. Might do a little bit of a giveaway or something, but 29K. Appreciate y'all. Good luck to you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and should be some fun fights. Till next time, hey, Job Picks.